And
Boom.
we are transitioned. And we are live.
That damn flubber.
Darn you, flubbers.
Oh,
All right.
rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Oh, I look cool like this.
Yeah, Flubber was a great movie.
I never saw it.
The original's good.
Yeah, but it doesn't have Robin Williams.
That's true.
It's got Jerry Lewis, right?
It has Robin's
Jerry Lee
William
Lewis.
in it, though.
Oh,
right.
So you're saying is the
again.
French really like it?
Yes, exactly. They know comedy. They know comedy.
What is it with the French and Jerry Lewis?
They're
I
having
prefer
an affair.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis, great balls of flubber. Goodness gracious.
Tonight's Miko movie.
All right. I hope everybody is doing well tonight, and we're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling for our Q&A so we can go to bed early. How's that sound, guys?
Yes. I'm not going to bed early, but yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
I have to make a sandwich.
Oh, sandwich sounds pretty good, actually.
Make me a sandwich.
Make me
I
a
don't like
sandwich.
sand. It's irritating. It gets everywhere.
All right,
That's
let's
funny.
do
I get
this.
it.
It
I've
gets in
seen
your,
Star Wars.
well, sand gets mostly in your witch. You know what I'm saying?
Funniest shit I've seen in your... Wait, no, that's
No,
not
that's
right.
not it. No. All right.
That's no Pickle Rick.
Yeah, it's not shit, bro.
Shit, bro.
It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Lovecraft Tapes podcast. This is the end of Case 13, Iris. I am Jeremy, keeper of arcane lore, and we play Call of Cthulhu, a role-playing game filled with cosmic horror, existential dread, and Tiny Tim singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips inside your bedroom closet while you shiver beneath the covers, afraid to emerge from under your blanket fort until sunrise, but suspecting the morning may never come. Your investigators of the unknown are Gabe as Roy.
Come on, baby. Give me a softball question. Make it easy.
Whoa, that's not a softball.
Playing hard to get.
You're playing hardball?
Matt as Rocky.
Yeah, I can answer that, but it's going to cost you like $20.
That's fair. And Brian as Pippa.
I'm Pippa, your arcane lord.
Oh shit! Totally going off the rails here.
No, Arcane is a Netflix series, Brian.
Like a gravy train.
Don't spoil the epilogue.
All right, welcome players. Tonight we will be
What's
answering
a Gravy
questions
Train and Ozzy Osbourne song?
regarding the podcasts and our recently completed scenario because it is done. Spoiler
I will
alert!
not be answering questions about the podcast.
Spoiler alert, we will discuss all of the nitty-gritty details of this adventure, so if you haven't listened yet, you may want to go back and start at Case 13, Tape 1 Prologue before listening to the rest of this episode. You have been warned.
Case 1, tape 1. Go back and listen.
Don't worry, Gabe. We're just going to strictly keep this about Rampart.
Mhm.
Take it from the top.
I'll
Rampart.
only answer questions about the Matt and Gabe show,
There you go.
my real podcast.
Listeners, if you would like to send a letter from beyond, please do so on our website anytime at lovecrafttapes.com, including questions for these episodes where we do Q&As at the end. So zap them there. Also, a gentle reminder that if you would like to chat with us in real time, join our Discord server at discord.lovecrafttapes.com today, and maybe, just maybe, Tiny Tim will like you, friend you, then follow you back to your house, creeping into the bedroom closet to wait for nightfall. You know what comes next.
Is that when he pokes you?
I think he tiptoes through your tulips.
Fun fact about
Is that a
guy.
euphemism?
Every single day for dinner, he would drink a jar of marinara sauce. That was his dinner.
What's wrong with that?
Pasta sauce.
It's delicious.
Share an unfun fact about him.
He was on Howard Stern,
He's right behind you.
and now he's in your mirror. Gabe.
Mirror Gabe. All right. This show is brought to you in part by our generous fans and supporters on patreon.com/Lovecraft Tapes. We're going to go ahead and thank those
Yay.
folks now because we have a nice
Right
big
now?
list.
Yeah.
A list.
And Jeremy has checked it twice.
I have checked it twice. I've gotten rid of the duplicates, and we have a couple new names in here, which is always nice. So thank you to Jordy Rose, Barry Robeson, Atulia, Brittany Davis, Elizabeth Grieve, Chris Parker, Brownie Davis, Kyle Sherman, Huge Pie, Jefferson Bell, Eric Zane, Olda, Polkert, Mitch L., Lobster Johnson, Amanda Power, Frank Delventhal, Harold, Eric Phillips, Melambra 57, Wouter Vermeyen, John Scarcella, Daniel Caprone, Snow, Dom Driver, Andrew Petty, The Frilled Shark, John May, who's in Ireland right now,
Oh, top of it.
Phil Dickinson, Flix Capacitator, Robert Jameson, Boston Harbor Horror, Eric Setterberg, Yogg, Little Rowan Plays, Liz Moonberry, Stephen Gregory, Davinia Von Zarevich, Ripley Iwan, Discordiant, Shane Stoley, Sheldon Warner, Chainsaw Unicorn, Captain Vashton, Peter VDB, what's up, Pete? James Brown, ow! Nobody ever gets that joke. A.E. Jonesy, Marty Dixon, Ineptus Astartes, Horst Draper, Gregory Schmucker, Matthew, say it with me, guys, Oddity, Prophet of Woe, Ruined Ashes, Brindle Stubbs, David Winterman, Kevin C., Rolling Boxcars, Casper Rybeck, Manic B Media, Ba Tran, Jeffrey Young, Bifford, Alexandra Kroska, Phoenix Black, what's up, Phoenix? Holden Omans, Puddle Time, Phil Campbell, Justin Levesque, don't know that guy, Nicholas Hutto,
Weirdo.
Tomas, John Konopasik, Jay Clark, Mick Cope, Kevin G., Robert Lamb, Jehovah's Thickness,
Who we love so much has his own card in our Cards Against Humanity deck.
Steve L., Benjamin King, J.R., Seriton Wizard of Isinglass, and finally, will pay to see Ernie eat Sarah's toilet rat. Thank you to everybody who donated.
What?
Appreciate all the support. And now, dear investigators, we recap Case 13, Iris. Previously on the Lovecraft Tapes.
Ding.
After the destruction of Blaine Manor, our staunch detectives are forced to travel to New York City, hoping to uncover the secret of the Odobrati relic and the whereabouts of Charles Blaine. Unfortunately, they run afoul of a secret cabal of ghouls, led by none other than Jason Windflower, the serial killer who ran amok at the Contented Cow. Amok, amok, amok. With a little help from new friends, our heroes manage to overcome this ultimate evil, but not before one of their number is faced with the very real prospect of pushing up daisies.
Good TV show. Wasn't on for long enough.
All right, guys. Let's A some cues. What do you say?
Oh,
It's going to
All
cost you
right,
like
use some
20 bucks.
Yeah. Right off the bat, from Chris Parker, who we know, this is for everybody. What was the...
Who?
Who? Who the hell is this?
I don't, doesn't sound familiar.
What was the experience like for y'all to revisit and in many ways close the book on the Blaine saga, this chapter? Gabe.
I'm not close enough to it. To me, the Blaines are. To me, the Blaines are something that have been kind of at a distance for me throughout it all. I mean, other than when I was just beginning and it was kind of wrapping up. So it was interesting to put myself into the scenarios of other folk, and it was really cool to be able to be a part of it. And let's just say that I really closed up the books. I really helped these folks out.
you cleared the slate.
Yeah. Pippa, you were also far away from it, but I guess also as a player.
Yeah, I meant both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard that about you. So Brian, what do you think?
It was nice to know, but kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like closes that chapter on way back when we first started. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 1, case 0. That's where we picked everything and made everything, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's that everything from then is gone now. So it's
Exactly.
closed.
What do you think, Matt?
I'm announcing my retirement. No.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, it was literally the foundation of where we started building this was with Charles and Samantha Blaine and Dan, and we saw Chuck move off, and then we still followed him around, and then Sam went, and then Dan left, and for a while they were kind of like on the periphery, just kind of hanging out,
What if?
still, yeah, what ifing out there in the universe. And now that we know, what happened to everyone, it's nice to kind of see all those threads come together into a neat bow. But I'm sad to see it go. But with the infinite universe that is storytelling, I'm sure we're going to find something just as great, if not better, out there as we continue on into Case 14.
An alternate universe
What? Multiverse.
where they're all alive.
Don't say anything. I haven't seen that movie yet.
What if we went to like
Roger
the
Rabbit?
30s or something?
Oh, the
I'm waiting for it to
2030s?
show up on
Who
Disney
knows?
Plus.
That's why
Okay.
I get paid the big bucks.
The 2030s.
The 20. Ooh, yeah.
We're gonna jump
2077 Cyberpunk.
7 years ahead. Go.
Cyberpunk Chuck. Nice. Yeah, and just for my part, it felt really good to close the book.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to happen, but I think it made sense. So
Yeah.
it was a very neat and tidy way to wrap things up.
It
So
was because pulling Windflower, right? Windflower, right? Is that what we're going with?
Yep. Still.
Pulling Windflower back in to get that closure was good for me as well as a player. Getting that closure on that too.
Yep.
Yeah, it was sad when I told George that Chuck was dead because he goes, "Oh, cool."
That was George. He's like,
He's
oh,
closed
okay.
that a long time ago. We closed that door.
All right, moving on. Phoenix wants to know from me, in Case 10, Tape 2, after Rocky's chess match, if you remember this, Rock, Kenny says the name Declan is familiar, and he thought that was one of Delta Green's agents. Nothing came of it, despite Rocky's paranoia and suspicion of Delta Green at the time. Was it a throwaway line, an attempt to feed that paranoia, or a subplot that never got explored by the players? And I thought about this for a while. I went back and had to actually look at my notes. And the bottom line is, I actually had written this into the plot, was that Kenny was playing chess with Rocky. So he was attempting to throw his opponent off. So when Rocky mentioned Declan first in the conversation, Kenny seized on that and tried to use it to get a response and sort of make Rocky a little uneasy or whatever, questioning or off his game. But that just didn't really happen. So that was the whole reason. I mean, we're so many cases beyond that, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that really I introduced it. So
It's really hard to shake this. It's like a steel fortress up here.
You were rolling so fucking good. I was like, all right, not gonna work. Okay, so this is from me for Brian. Yep. Pippa seems to be leaning into the magic use, and it's starting to take its toll, both mentally and physically. We already know she drinks a lot of coffee, so it seems like she's becoming an adrenaline junkie too. In your mind, what is Pippa's situation 6 months after the events of New York City? Like, where is she mentally? What is she doing for work? Is she still a realtor?
Right. Well, it obviously took time to recoup. You know what I mean? Mentally and physically. But feeling the power and the success that she had with that fight and with her casting, she's been practicing on a small scale, trying to hone her skills to where it's more reliable and not just I hope this works, throw it up in the air and see what sticks. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's been focusing on that, which has allowed her business to fall off a bit, but she's still selling houses, just She's really pulled back a lot on that. Maybe 2 or 3 a month or so, just to stay busy on that front, keep it moving, keep it operating, making it a one-person job since she no longer has an assistant and no longer wants one.
Got it.
So it's easier to keep track of everything when it's just you that needs to keep track of.
I wondered too, like, would Pippa be so wrapped up in those studies and trying to hone those things that, like, she once upon a time she was like, oh, I need to be here at this time.
Yep.
Is she like starting to be a little lax and maybe forgetting
That
appointments?
that's why it's fallen down to 2 or 3 a month instead of 2 or 3 showings a day.
So you're not number 2 in Arkham anymore, right? Or in Massachusetts?
She hasn't thought of it in at least 4 weeks, where she stands in anything other than focusing on herself and what she can do with what she has.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah. We'll get to that here in a minute too. Ineptus the Stardust wants to know from Matt. Re-listen question for Case 12, almost up to the new season. Is the clown hatred just a Rocky thing or a Matt thing as well? Matt seemed to jump that way pretty fast.
It's a Rocky thing. I mean, I'm not like deathly afraid of clowns IRL. I find them more annoying than anything else. It's that style of like physical slapstick humor isn't my cup of tea. I jumped on clowns because A, we were dealing with a circus, and B, fear of clowns is a really common thing. So I figured it'd be a really great play because it gave me a lot of material to work off from real life, and it'd make it a little more relatable for all those people out there who are actually afraid of clowns.
Makes sense. Okay, Oddity would like to know from all of the players. Brian went somewhere, I guess.
Ah!
Oh, there you are. Jesus Christ.
I was going to do a clown scare, but I was trying to get Mikey to be quiet.
Oddity wants to know, does your investigator have a last will and testament? And if so, what are their final wishes?
I can start with that.
Yeah.
She didn't. Pippa did not have one.
Does not.
No, did not.
Okay.
Now she does.
Okay.
Yeah. In the last couple of weeks, she's done that. She's written something roughly up,
And what is
it's
it?
in her safe in the office.
What's the basic?
Everything of power that she has, which is kept in a sealed box, goes to Rocky for safekeeping.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Power, things of power.
Anything that she's collected over the last 6 weeks or so.
Okay. Gotcha.
Marbles, say a paperclip,
Dice.
She got a pair of X-ray specs from a box of cereal that she's really
They're
excited
real.
about.
How about like your house and stuff? Car, money.
Yeah, I don't have any family left, so I'd probably leave it to the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Rocky? That's a weird one.
Yeah, an actual like legally binding document. No. Does he have a plan in place? I'd say yeah. He's more or less like he lives off of the principle of leave no trace. Like he's really big on taking out the bigger threats and making sure that nobody else has to deal with that or live with that knowledge. So I think that carries over into his plans for himself when he's done. I'd like to think that he has things in place that, when he's finally gone, that he has people to carry steps through to more or less erase him, because like his work, he doesn't want any trace left. If Roy is still around, I'm sure he would probably end up sending something to him and his family. If not, he probably has plans for all of his money and his assets wherever they're stashed away to go to where he thinks they can do the best to help other people. Because in the end, for him, it's a lot of doing the best for the common good. And even at the end, if he can help someone else or do something to make things better, that's what he's going to do.
All right. How about Roy?
Roy has no plans.
Shocked.
He's never gonna die.
Bury it with me.
When he goes, other people can worry about it. It's not his job.
Fair.
Yep.
That is a strategy. All right, Gabe, do you got a question for Brian?
Strategy.
Can I pick someone else? My question for Brian was taken, so I'm trying to think of one.
Color blue. That's my favorite.
I'll give one to Matt. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, Gabe.
Oh, not the hey. You.
Hey, you.
Hey, you.
You, me?
Did Rocky have any plans for how he was going to utilize the resources of the basement before he stupidly destroyed it?
One, not my fault.
Yes, it was.
Two, it was very clear that Charles was deep into some far out shit, and I'm more than 100% sure that there was something else in that basement that would have led to some sort of other crazy adventure. When you get that deep into looking into this kind of things, you don't stop at just one. So he definitely had some more crazy stuff hidden down there that we could have used or that would have taken us somewhere. So I'm kind of sad to see that the Blaine Manor, or I guess I should say Blaine Manor, is now gone.
Everything's gone, even the well.
Yeah, part of wrapping it all up, but
Mm-hmm.
is sad. But
soon there'll be
I'd like to
condos.
think that, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Okay,
Haunted
cool.
condos.
It looks like we do have a question here in the chat for me.
For you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
What's up, chat?
What's up, chat? Do you ever plan on going into another dimension? I know it was sort of not really touched on with the Cat VR, but we
don't talk about that.
But I was meaning more like a nightmare hellscape. This is from Dirtman Band, who I think is Profitable.
Yeah.
Looks like the same.
An upside
icon.
down or something of the like. He
Yeah.
clarifies.
Yeah.
No more cats, Crow.
I definitely, because I kind of would love to get these guys into the dimensional places that already exist within Lovecraftian lore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I would say yes. I don't have any concrete plans because the stuff just hasn't brought us to that brink yet. I think that's almost going to be a come to Jesus moment situation where they're probably going to have to actively go in and try to do something that is, going to save the world, specifically. So I think that's probably what it is.
So we'll accidentally activate something, is what you're saying?
Well, you've always sort of brushed with it in the past,
Yeah,
like even the farmhouse one.
Yep.
With all the cult members, they dragged you into the cave
Mm-hmm.
and opened up the portal, and Roy shot the thing just in time, so it closed the thing.
That was the best
right.
ever.
So, but that could have brought in something nasty, and a portal that would have opened, and you guys would have been inadvertently brought in some fashion. But yeah, and there's been other cases like that too. But I think at a certain point, it's going to be like, you're going to need to make a plan and know that you have to go in and do these things rather than
supplies.
Just bump into this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what's this order brought? Do you think? Oh, look, ghouls.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Let's see here. We've got Ineptus Astardus asks me, I noticed throughout Case 12, Jeremy really seemed to be pushing the Charlene and Rocky angle, despite Matt having Rocky show no interest. Jeremy would step in a few times and say, "You feel." Was Charlene working magic on Rocky, and that's why Jeremy occasionally took more control of what the character thought in this area? So to answer that, Charlene wasn't really using any magic per se, though she was trying to use her wiles to ingratiate herself to Rocky, and it kind of worked. I mean, the role playing actually kind of worked. And her intent obviously was to get closer to Pippa's Starstone. That was really the only reason to butter him up. However, I did approach Rocky's feelings toward Charlene in a very simple manner. Have you ever fallen in love? It is a deeply confusing and completely alien compulsion against which you sometimes have no defense in real life.
Yeah.
So I kept throwing that at Rocky to see what would stick. Which would he actually, take the bait? That was primarily it. And, no matter, your best laid plans, if you meet the right or wrong person, sometimes you're helpless in the grip. So that's the way I played it. And I also wanted to sort of keep him off balance for Charlene's true motivation by adding this wrinkle that I know he probably would have pressed up against or pushed against. So that was it. It wasn't really Charlene like doing some ooga booga on him. It was more just the normal human compulsions that sometimes we just can't help. So I hope that answers.
Matt can help it.
Yeah. Well, he had agency. He could do whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But the feelings were right. I had to introduce as an alien kind of thing that he'd have to deal with. Feelings. All right. Atulia wants to know from Gabe. Have you thought about the next character you might play? Can you give us any teasers?
No teasers. I have a plan. But like I said, Roy was never going to die, so no need.
Well, he might not be dead, but...
Flubber.
So there you go, Atulia.
Flubber, I hardly know her.
Gabe refuses to answer your question.
I said yes.
Thank you for supporting our
answered
podcast.
Both questions. I said both. I answered both questions. Question 1, do you have another character in the works? Yes. Question 2, any teasers? No.
Can we keep this professional? We're strictly here to talk about the Matt and Gabe show.
That's right. All right. Well, speaking of which, Matt, do you have a question for Brian?
Any other questions?
So, Brian, when you first built Pippa as a character, did you start out with the I want to be a magic user in mind? Or was it just kind of a happy accident that happened in roleplay that you've leaned into and developed as a trait for your character?
I started with some unique genetic material when I built her. Honestly, I think it was magic, but it was like I had to see what I could get away with. So I called Jeremy to help with all of that, obviously, because not knowing, even though we've had 13 seasons, not knowing the full universe and what the restrictions might be, I wanted to make sure I was building a character that was feasible and that would kind of fit in without taking over. You know what I mean? Because if you build a character that is, too heavy in one section, or one area, it could push everybody to the side and everybody's roles would shift and change. And I did not want that at all. I wanted to be someone who was in the back seat all the time. Somebody who could develop and push their way to the front, on their merits rather than just having the power to do so. So yeah, it was always a thought to be able to have magic, but not experienced in any of it. You know what I mean? Very, very immature in learning on that aspect. But now I have the power.
This is how villains are born.
My origin story.
Music Factory. He got the
I remember back in the day when I was a realtor.
Damn it.
All right.
Hey, that's me. I'm sure you're wondering how I got myself in this situation.
Record scratch.
All right. The Frilled Shark wants to know from everybody, if your characters ever had to play a sport, which sport would they be best at and why?
Ooh, I got my badminton, baby.
Shuttlecock.
Because I'm quick. I can get to any spot on that court.
Well, you don't have to rush too hard. It's just like,
And I love shuttles.
Nice save.
Thanks. I save them all. Matt?
Is none an option?
if they ever had to play a sport, what sport
Yeah.
would they be
If
best at, and why? Not
had
necessarily
to.
enjoy, but what would they be best at? And
Full
why?
contact chess.
Yeah.
Gabe?
Hey, Gabe, you got
Well,
one for Roy?
because unlike Rocky, Roy is actually an arroyo.
Yeah.
He's great at every single sport because he understands that the only good way to play sports is to be as violently defensive as humanly possible. Basketball is what he's best at.
Violent basketball.
Call your own fouls, baby. Means you don't call them.
You have other teeth.
Ooh, yeah. Obsidian, this Phoenix says, I could see Rocky playing cricket or croquet.
Oh, there you
Cricket
go.
would be
Or
interesting.
crochet.
Go for water polo.
You got those
He's
needles.
really good at those disappoint your father sports.
Oh.
Hey, I didn't say I was playing ultimate frisbee. Okay.
Oh. Hey.
Hey,
That's a good one.
hey.
It's not ultimate
feel
when I
seen.
play it, but it's just called frisbee.
All right, I think we'll move on.
Professional cornhole.
There you go. Ladder golf.
Not the kind
Grab
with the
your balls.
beanbag.
All right, Crocy wants to know of Brian.
I'm right here.
Is Pippa going to take that lady from the hotel up on her spell training?
I already have.
Maria.
Menounos.
Maria.
Once met a girl named Maria.
Yes. Any other questions?
That was a yes or no question. Go.
No, I already have. Limited, obviously. I want to keep everything that I know close to my chest so I can make sure it's being monitored and I'm not overdoing it. But yeah, I'm definitely in contact. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Brian, do you have one for
Manifest
me?
energy knives.
Yes. Did you want me to ask it or
It's yes or no question, Brian. Do you
what
have
is
one
your
for
favorite
him?
color and why?
Yes.
Terrible.
Fuck.
Did you expect Windflower to put up more of a fight? Did you have a plan? Sorry, let me rephrase that. Did you have a plan for Windflower to put up more of a fight?
No, I think it. I wasn't quite sure, but I didn't want to overpower you guys with if you had dawdled and if things went sour, then yes, you would have been swarmed by ghouls at the end.
Okay,
and
that's what
probably
I was
all
wondering.
devoured. But the fact that I did have built in there was a cadence to the rounds, so I knew that in round 3 or 4 or 5, I can't remember what, a Loliola was going to come in.
Okay.
And I knew that, you guys had a little bit of firepower with Choo Choo there because he had a pistol. So I tried to make it as challenging as possible and as life-threatening as possible
Right.
without completely decimating TPK. And Windflower himself, I felt like you guys deserved the chance to have vengeance for Chuck. So he couldn't be a god. He wasn't a god. He was just a dumb asshole serial killer who became a ghoul,
Yeah.
and then took control of the ghouls that were beneath this one little faction of ghouls. So I didn't want to make him super crazy. But he was also very, obviously he did some damage. He killed Roy.
Yes.
So,
Revenge for Chuck is the name of my new cover band.
There you
Just
go.
so you know.
Chuck's Vengeance. No. So it was I wanted it to be as enthralling and thrilling as possible when that final fight scene, but not to be. There's no, you guys had to have a chance, and you rolled very well. So, and they rolled very poorly.
Yeah.
That's how this thing goes occasionally.
I know
once.
about rolling poorly.
For
trust me.
once, that's how this thing goes. It's usually us that do the poorly.
Well, usually you
Talking
guys
about rolling
somebody
3
pulls it
fumbles
out.
in one game.
Usually in the clutch, somebody can usually do it.
It's usually him.
Yeah, it's usually Rocky, absolutely. But And occasionally Roy is done here and there.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was Roy who got the short end of the stick for show.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Question from the
fine.
chat. What's with Roy? Phoenix wants to know what's with Roy's Eldritch lightsaber / glowing ethereal dildo.
Yeah, Gabe wants to know that too.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam and Eve, for sponsoring us.
Yes. Hashtag not sponsored.
Enter code Lovecraft at checkout for a free special gift.
Yeah, when Maria conjured that knife
him and her.
for Roy, it appeared in his hand like magic. It was just like, zing, and Roy was like,
Audio podcast.
yeah, that's right. Sorry, audio podcast. That was only
Instead
for
of
you
2
guys
fingers,
watching.
it was 3.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Does that answer your question for me, Brian, about Windflower?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. JB Sharkbite wants to know, with all the madness and twisting paths of Call of Cthulhu, it gets a bit confusing after a while. Is it possible to get a recap on the story so far?
No, I'm sorry.
We'll do it.
No.
We went to New York. We had a great time. Went to an art gallery, and then
Guys,
we're
I
back
got
home.
this. Yes,
No,
it is possible.
From
Next
the
question.
beginning.
Oh, from the beginning? Yeah. Once there was darkness, then there was a big explosion.
So JB Sharkbite, we don't have a wiki right now. I know that Chris
Yeah.
is working on one, and maybe in the future we'll have something that will help lead you through it.
Yeah.
But honestly, at this point, it's you have to kind of go through it.
We need a Lovecraft tapes supercut.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But who's got the fucking time? So
Pick the wrong week to stop.
it
sniffing
is
glue.
nuts. They'd be nice to just do a little. I guess what you could do is go through all of my
Epilogues.
let's recap from
Yeah.
each of the Q&As. You could kind of recap and build a little story, but it's just too
It's not
much.
going to cover everything though.
Yeah, I
Like
couldn't
the
do that.
relationships and the losses and the gains and all of that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
DM
Mad
Matt.
gains.
DM what?
DM Matt.
Yeah, that's
Dominate
all,
Matt. All right.
but do it individually and in a
Yeah.
personal note so that you can't copy and repaste it. But no, I've actually thought about at some point trying to do a novelization
Mm-hmm.
of some of the past events, like take a case or chapter, and
Some would be good show stories
make
for
a
sure.
novel out of it.
Yeah.
So
Leather bind it.
leather bound it, yeah.
With
Sell it as
flesh.
Yeah.
hardcovers.
We have to
But-
bind it in human skin.
Yeah.
It's the only
Flesh.
way.
And we have to write it in human blood.
Yeah.
It'd be
Flesh.
fun. Well, to make it real, yes, we would have to.
Yeah. Duh.
Flesh.
How else would
Ah.
a book
won't
be
work.
written?
Moving on,
Yeah,
guys.
how else would you write a book?
Gabe, do you have a question for me?
I do. So when I went up the stairs of that art house,
Yes.
how far was that gonna go? Was I gonna end up getting put in a pit and skinned alive if I didn't get out of there?
No. No, that was and that's not. I'm trying to remember who the guy's name was.
Remember what happened to
You'll
the
notice I
professor in the shed?
deliberately. You'll
Say
notice
again?
I deliberately said up those stairs
Yes.
there.
Yeah. So the art guy, whose name I can't remember, he was really going to see how far you would go
Mm-hmm.
in becoming a model.
Right.
That's all. And
That's
of
what I
course,
gathered.
the more that you got to know him or got closer to him, the more details you might have gleaned within that studio apartment. Make sense? Because there were more
Yeah.
secrets and more things, and you had the opportunity to question him and maybe, get him to be, I don't know, you could seduce him. He was into that. So
Blown
One of
chances.
Roy's regrets in life.
right.
Yeah.
So, but no, you weren't really in any mortal danger in that particular scene.
So what you're saying is we were denied tasteful nudes of Roy Arroyo.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
You do not have to look far
Shame.
for that.
Once you got upstairs, it was just canvases with one letter on each that said "send nudes."
All right, Phil Lulu sent me a thing just
Lulu?
a question for me, but I actually think you guys could actually answer it too.
No, it's
He
for you.
doesn't want that though.
I know, but it's a fun question. So the question
We'll
is:
see.
Pippa, Rocky, Roy, shag, marry, kill.
Oh.
And I said Shag Roy, because you know he likes to get it on. Marry Rocky, because he can bring home the bacon and he'll never cheat on me. Kill Pippa, because she's liable to go off her rocker one day and start using her powers against me. That would be my pick.
I'd shag Pippa. I'd marry Pippa.
And I'd kill Pippa.
That tracks.
I'd fuck Roy because I do every day. I'd kill Rocky because, come on. And I'd marry Pippa because I can leave her at home with the 12 kids pretty easily.
I'm already married to myself. And dead.
Well, clearly I would have to shag Rocky because it's the right choice between the two. Then I'd have to kill Roy just in revenge.
But you're already dead.
And I guess I'd come back from the grave and then kill you in revenge. Right. You forget I got 5 more lives.
Oh,
so,
that's true. True story. And then you
yeah,
marry
but I'm
Pippa,
unkillable.
Yeah, by process of elimination, I guess I have to.
I'd have to. Nice. All right, Matt, do you got a question for me?
Yeah. So near the end, when they were exploring that lost subway station, it seemed like there was a couple of different places they could have gone within there that they kind of strayed away from. Were there other clues or mysteries hidden in that subway station that might have given them a little bit of a heads up as to what they were dealing with, or did they find everything they needed to find?
No, I think they got everything they needed to as far as that goes. Because when we got to where I knew we were going to have the confrontation down in the tunnels, I kind of had to speed things up a bit because, as usual, we were lagging in the timeline. And I was like, okay, this is a good spot. We're actually going to have the two parties meet in the underground. And so it was Choo Choo, Roy, and Pippa in the abandoned 76th Street station. And it was going to be a bit more verbose, but because they had Windflower and the gang on their tails, I kind of had to. And it was going to be, I was thinking more along the lines of, what is it, John Carpenter's, help me out, Brian, Precinct 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Precinct 31, where it's they're holed up in this one spot and it was going to be a inundation of ghouls at them and they'd have to figure things out.
Wave after wave after wave.
Yeah, but there really only was the 76th Street station as a means to get to the ghoul lair, and inevitably and that's where it was a sort of a one-way thing because you get Charles Blaine's body there, and then beyond that they were going to be driven deeper into the ghoul lair. So it kind of panned out the way it should have, but I think everything was found. There were some verbose things, but it was not of any consequence other than like scares and maybe minor clues, but nothing that was really going to help at that point. You guys had uncovered most of it.
Actually investigating as investigators? What?
No.
What?
That's not supposed to happen.
Looks like Crow's got a question.
It's not really a question, though, because everybody knows the answer.
Pizza.
Ghouls versus
read it.
Ratma. Who wins?
Oh,
Ratma.
come on.
No contest.
I think Ratma
If
would
we
win.
can beat the ghouls, Ratma can beat the ghouls for sure.
I think Jason Windflower was a Ratma.
Yeah.
Can I get a hail Ratma in chat, fans?
They would never.
Can I get an F?
Mm-hmm. Also, it looks like Dirtman Band, Prophet of Woe, has a question for me. With your Destiny obsession, do you ever feel the want to borrow inspiration from the lore? A lot of it would fit really well, i.e. the hive worm gods would be an awesome entity. No, I actually haven't thought about it, although there are Cthulhuoid elements, Lovecraftian elements within Destiny that I think would make a nice fit. But no, I've never thought about it.
How about now?
It'd be interesting. I don't think I could borrow directly because I'm too entrenched in horror lore and horror movies and that sort of thing. That I would
the
be
horror house.
The horror house.
That's our next mission.
The horror house.
Chapter 14, the whore house.
The horror house. All right, this is a question from the Frilled Shark for Gabe. Why on earth did you give Roy such a low 20-something handgun skill stat way back when?
It's called being realistic.
True.
Roy was a
Roy doesn't-
stormtrooper before
Roy
he was
doesn't
an FBI agent.
practice. He just doesn't. And let's be honest, he didn't have a lot of shooting on the job back in his old position.
Right.
So it just is what it is.
I'll put it out there. No matter how hard as a player we think of where we should put our points when we're building a new character, it's always wrong.
Seems like
It's
it, right?
always wrong.
Yeah.
Because we
Wrong,
never roll for the
wrong,
things that we think
wrong.
we should be able to roll for, that we will roll for.
Yeah.
So
I was right because I
Yeah,
didn't think
it's-
about it that way. I thought about what would this character know.
Roy,
Yeah.
you haven't
It's a
made
weird
many
balance
characters,
when
my
you're-
friend.
It's a weird balance when you're building characters because it's like, do you spend the points into things you know you're going to need, like listen and spot hidden, and
Listen.
you know all the stuff you know you'll have to use as an investigator, or do you take those points and you spend them into role playing possibilities and help flesh out the character a little bit? Because it can make it more interesting if you use
Yeah.
those points for character development. But
Mhm.
it can then end up being a bit of a detriment later on if you
Right.
don't have that like core, almost required skill set for doing the investigating part of Call of Cthulhu.
Now, and Jeremy's good at that as he doesn't have every time we do a scenario, it's like, okay, roll for this, roll for that. And it's not always the same thing you're rolling for, so we can't plan. You know what I mean? He hasn't fallen into that habit of roll for search, or you know what I'm saying, roll for medicine or whatever it is over and over again, so we can plan as players. Oh, he's going to ask us for that, so we need to put points in
Spot
that.
hidden's the only one.
And that's even rarer now. We haven't really done a spot hidden much. You know what I mean? So
There it is.
I like it. It keeps us on our toes, and we're like, where should we put our points? Because normally at this stage, after 13, we'd be like, okay, all of them go into this, all of them go into that, and then we put the rest here, and we'll be fine.
I'm
We
just saying,
can't do that.
the fact that I haven't rolled many characters means that I'm good at it.
That's true.
Just saying.
But I'm just saying,
I'm just
we have a
saying.
little more experience
Nice.
about failure.
All right, we're gonna step on the gas here a little bit. Gerard wants to know, where and when did you all meet? This is more pertinent to you guys.
There's no way I can say it without being creepy.
Oh, you're talking about that in the bathroom, but yeah, I know what you're getting at. That was
I met Gabe when he was 14. Matt, I met you when you were 14. And I groomed them, everybody.
I met Brian when he was 0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
1973.
groomer.
Yeah, so obviously Brian's my brother, and these guys were Brian's friends, and so that's it.
Former students.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on.
Drama club and all that.
Exactly.
good stuff.
Drama llama. This is a question for Gabe from me. Since swapping bodies, losing his family, losing his home, and now dying, how has Roy's worldview changed from when he was a simple FBI agent providing for his many, many kids?
Back in my day.
He's definitely having more fun than he used to because he has less responsibilities. Because instead of having fun only when he wasn't at home, now he's having fun because he's never at home. He definitely misses his old body, but though I will say that kind of got put to bed when he, burnt it alive.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of got over that, though he never will entirely. But I mean, he only has one person that annoys him versus 13 now. Though he does miss, he definitely misses his hometown. He definitely misses the ability to know everyone and do everything. That's why last scenario I thought was really good.
Yeah.
To be able to be around things he knows and around people he knows. So, I mean, he just likes to know people.
Are you my dad?
All right.
Gotta keep an eye out for more people in the shed.
Will pay to see Ernie eat Sarah's toilet rat has a question for me. It seems that all episodes end up being resolved with violence, although many times it's a violent end to an artifact. How many of the big bads dispatched by the intrepid investigators were immortal, as in can't be killed by direct violence? I thought about this for a bit. Obviously, Dagon.
Yeah.
If that encounter actually occurred,
Right.
we're not quite sure if it did because of the Seven Samurai telling of the story. Obviously, Dagon is unkillable by conventional means.
I'll find a way.
Obviously,
We'll get them on tax evasion like they did with Al Capone.
Exactly. all the cultist type folks are mortal, so they can all be killed. Those guys were nothing like Tommy Lee and all that stuff.
Those aren't bad. Those aren't big bads.
Exactly. The black goo on the Island Research Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as immortal as you can get.
Yeah.
So that one,
because it only
would've
needs
been
a
tough.
tiny bit to survive. And
It's not
reproduce.
venom, guys. It's not.
It is.
It's not venom.
It
No.
is. You don't know though. It could
But
be.
it
So
might
I
be
would say
morbid
black goo.
time.
Yeah,
Brian, do you have a question for Gabe?
I do. What's your favorite color and why?
Blue. No yellow.
Oh, sorry. That's very
you're
poor
forgetting.
handwriting. Oh, did Roy at any moment in time in this last scenario have a moment of clarity through the fog of the loss of sanity? Because it kind of seemed like you did in the fight. Like you snapped right in and were 100% present.
I tend to believe that Roy does that fairly often. I mean, you say what you want about him, but I tend to believe that when it's time to
Food
work,
eater.
he works. I mean,
Yeah.
when it's time to get the job done, he gets the job done, and he's fully aware of the stakes of most situations. I mean, I think that in his head, most of the things that people get mad at him for doing is just petty nonsense, like
Okay.
cops are. That doesn't matter. What are they gonna do to him? And cultists, what are they gonna do to him? These are just people, but when it really comes down to brass tacks and people are in danger, I think he can really, settle in and, really get the job done, make it a clear situation of what he needs to do.
Almost like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Bifford has a question for Gabe. What were the last ever thoughts to run through Roy's mind as he sailed through the air to crash into death?
This is gonna hurt.
Yes. Perfect.
That was great.
Perfect. Matt, do you have a question for Gabe?
I do. So over the ensuing cases, Roy seems to get beat up a lot. Whether it's being hurled across a room or, lit on fire with a Molotov cocktail. He spends a lot of time in and out of hospitals in recovery. So the only obvious question is red hospital jello or blue hospital jello?
Blue hospital jello, red is for the weak.
Exactly, that's the right
Raspberry
answer.
100%.
baby.
Nice. All right.
And to answer your other question, they hate me because they ain't me, and that's why I get beat up so often.
All right. Jirah has a question.
Because they anus?
The anus? What about my anus? Jirah says, in a lot of the episodes, the keeper will throw to the players typically something like, "So tell us how you felt about that," or "That reminds me of a childhood incident. Tell us about that." How much notice do the players get to craft a response, or is it all ad lib on the spot?
If we're lucky at the beginning, Jeremy will be like, I'm going to have you make up a little something. And that's about all we get.
That's not even when we start 15 minutes early and do pre-show, notes and anything like that. If we have
Right
questions,
before we start.
it's like, okay, we're going live in 3 minutes. And I need you guys to come up with a dream scenario for about 5 minutes and to talk about it. We're like, what?
Your best bet for notice is to have to give the last story of the 3.
Right?
Yeah. Usually that's the best bet
Yeah.
because then you at least have an idea of what's
Yeah.
coming.
And we don't know who gets to go first until he does his prologue, and he's like, "Now, Brian, tell me what you feel about that." I'm like,
And sometimes he'll be setting it up and he'll be talking about Rocky the whole prologue, and I'm like, all right, what was Roy feeling?
Yep.
Yeah, guilty as charged. I do tend to throw these guys. I mean, usually it occurs like it's all down to cadence and rhythm.
Yeah.
It appears like, okay, I think we're at a spot in the story where that would be good, and we need to. I've been doing a lot of the talking, so I think it's time for these guys to step up and flush out some of that backstory. So
And we like
we
it.
don't like to talk. Oh.
He actually did that tonight with Where's Pippa Now 6 weeks after. That was all improv, by the way, because I didn't know he was going to ask that question.
He also did it with every single question because
we didn't get the
we
questions.
didn't know them.
Yeah, I got to talk to my publicist. This is ridiculous.
and you're right.
You're not following Brian. We're on page 47 of the script. You got to keep up.
But I only have 3 questions. Can you see them?
Nope, they're all blurry.
That's how filthy those questions are. We can't show them on the internet.
Ugh. Rated X. NC-17. Chris Parker wants to know from Gabe, how does Roy feel about the Celtics' chances in Game 6? Better or worse than his own next chapter?
They're not going to win. And he knows that, so he's getting really angry and violent towards anything that he can. So better than his own chances.
Nice. Better than his own. I like that. All right, I got a question for Matt. It's obvious Rocky has feelings for his brother, despite butting heads most of the time. Rocky is also very experienced with the darker arts, having had many brushes with these unsavory forces in the past. Would he ever be tempted to use that forbidden knowledge to, say, bring his brother back from the dead?
I'd be lying if I said the thought hadn't crossed my mind.
So you're a liar.
Like you said, as much as they butt heads and don't get along at the end of the day, they're brothers, and that's kind of what he expects. That's the only kind of familial interaction he's had is that constant, rubbing up against each other the wrong way, headbutting. And that's just what he expects from family, and in a strange way, that's kind of what he's come to enjoy about it, is that no matter how many times they get into it or how many times they end up being angry at each other, he's still, Roy is still Rocky's brother, and that's that family connection is something that you can't really get rid of, no matter how hard you try. So
James, can I buy you dinner right now? Is that okay?
it'd be very tempting to go digging through the archives for something to maybe bring him back, but at the same time, I think he understands the universal rule of all magic comes with a price. And it comes down to that weighing of, is that price worth paying? And usually when it comes to toying with the strings of fate, the answer is no. Because you end up getting monkey pawed like a motherfucker.
Or pox.
Yeah. Monkey poxed like a motherfucker.
Here's hoping. John Scarcella wants to know from me, without spoiling anything based on the epilogue where Roy was not so lucky, what was the wound that possibly killed off my favorite PC? Just blunt trauma.
Mental wounds.
That's it. I mean, Jason
Too much
Ufar just like
Blunt
basically
trauma.
swiped you, right? He just like pummeled you.
Blunt
You're flying through the air, and then in you went to the sarcophagus. Roy went to the sarcophagus, and the first aid failed. Now we don't know what happened after that because we cut the scene there. So I guess we'll
snip
figure out what happened.
The second aid worked.
So, but yeah, it was essentially just the
Kool-Aid,
a big old punch to the face.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, do you got a question for Matt?
I do. What is your Rocky?
No cream.
What's your favorite?
Rocky.
There you go.
Rocky.
Hey, you. What?
Are you monitoring the powers that are growing inside of Pippa, and are you concerned?
Yes and yes.
Be
For-
my mentor.
For the vast majority of the
Be my
interactions that Rocky has both been through and seen over his long years, dabbling in things that you don't understand tends to lead to some negative outcomes. Magic, especially in Call of Cthulhu, is kind of a two-way street. Yeah, you're getting that power and that ability to do whatever, but at the same time, you're giving something up. And usually, what you end up giving up is yourself. And so, whenever you see somebody start to really dig into that magic, is when you need to start being concerned. That same thing happened to Sam, where she lost one of her arms due to going a little too far into things that she didn't understand. So
She's
anytime
fine.
he sees somebody who's diving headfirst into this kind of world where he knows only bad things come from, it's something to be concerned and worried about. Are you going to Palpatine me? Is that what this is?
Oh, no.
Are you going to
requires
sit in
two
the corner
fingers.
and go unlimited power?
All right.
Give in to the dark side.
Phoenix wants to know from me, will we ever find out what Rocky and Ripley discussed between cases 12 and 13? And I thought about this and I said, I think so. There's some gray area as to whether that encounter actually occurred. And I had planned on fleshing it out a bit more in case 13, but it was so logical and convenient to move the action to New York City and get the characters away from Blaine Manor and Arkham that I just couldn't resist not doing that. So everything, however, comes home to roost. So we will try to tie up some loose ends that may or may not happen in case 14.
So I can't say no, but you can say, I think so.
I think so. Well, I mean,
I think I
I
can.
think so. Maybe. Okay. This is for all of us, I believe, from Andrew Petty. Including the secret tapes. This will be fun to dig around in your heads. Who is your favorite character you've played?
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Jeez and
that
Crow.
is so many people.
I'll start off because I thought about it. I had time to think about it. And I think in the Cannibal, I played a Clint Eastwood-like character. And I just had a blast playing that guy. So let's play that draw. It was a lot of fun just to kind of throw myself into that dumb character.
Yeah.
Do the voice work. And
Dr. Pretoria for me.
Yes, Dr. Hibbert Pretorius.
Oh, he was so fun. Even with the horrible, horrible scene,
That
he
never
was
happened.
still
Redacted.
he was still very, very fun to play. Because I got to do a stupid voice and I got to be outrageous because I knew it didn't matter.
Aaron Martinez.
Yes, you
I
were
thought you
good
hated
as Aaron.
doing Aaron.
I did. I hated it. It's Roy. I was joking.
You were so good at it, though.
Aaron Martinez.
Aaron Martinez.
That's the first time I ever had experienced him playing a different character, and he totally switched like that. It was crazy to see him do it in mid-play.
Matt, did you pick one?
You're Matt.
Still
This is
thinking?
going to be a stretch for everyone, including the audience.
You can't say Jesse
if you
McCree. They
remember-
don't know about that.
Oh, damn. There goes the unreleased demo half game we played with Gabe way back in the day.
Oh God, I don't even remember
That
what
was a good
character you
time.
played.
Yeah.
I made Jesse McCree from Overwatch as a Call of Cthulhu character, including the
yeah.
stupid Southern accent.
That's right.
And I had like 80 plus points into handgun. That was a good time.
It's too bad that Gabe didn't work out and join the podcast.
Oh,
It would have
yeah.
been a
Oh,
good
yeah.
time.
It was
We
really
could've
fun
finished that
building a
We just didn't
character.
mesh.
I just really didn't like those three guys.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because most characters you build, you're trying to achieve an outcome, But the fact that I got to build Jesse literally for straight shits and giggles because I knew that it was a one shot that did not matter in any way and I could do whatever I wanted was a lot of fun to have that freedom just to do really wacky stuff.
Yeah.
I played Matt Damon. No,
And no one will ever hear it because we never finished it. There's only ever one of it. It half exists.
Yeah. Crocy wants to know if you guys enjoyed playing yourselves in that convention one with the spider eggs.
Yes, actually, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
The one where he told Gabe he needed to roll a 1 to fix the thing, and he rolled a 1 to fix the thing.
Luckiest MFer on the planet right here.
That
has
was a
to
good
be
one.
one of the most referenced moments from a one shot that made it into the real podcast, and no one knew what we were talking about.
Yep.
Just constantly like, tell Gabe what he needs to roll. Just give him an exact number.
Perfect outcome. Yep. All right, we've only got a couple questions left here. So, Gabe, you finally got one for Bryant?
I had it a while ago.
All right.
But I forgot it.
Yeah, now I need a new one. It's been taken a couple more times. So, Brian, since Pippa's definitely going to become evil now, do you regret meeting the Arroyo brothers, or do you just wish that does Pippa just wish that she could have sold the house and gotten her commission and continued her rinky-dink life the way it was going?
Well, I knew what your question was going to be. That's why I answered no. No, she probably would have, maybe in the heat of that battle, she probably would have wished to that. And then everything turned around when she felt the support and the power surging. And she could not turn back after that. But meeting you guys, yeah, she wishes she would not have ever met you guys.
How does it feel?
No, she's become very close with both of you. Just the experience alone pulls people close together. You know what I mean? Because nobody else has that experience, and the only people you can share it with are the ones you went through it with. But she's definitely pulling back a lot and kind of focusing inward right now.
Ew.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that your company definitely has to pay for the insurance on Blaine Manor?
Well, here's the thing. We were just in talks with the owner. I was there to meet him to list it, and we never met. So it was never part of our listings.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, you were just squatting there.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I was under the impression that they were friends of Mr. Blaine at that time.
There was no impression to be had.
Yeah. No, you left a big impression on that couch. With all that Nutella.
No.
With all that Nutella, man.
The couch that Rocky blew up. Yeah.
That poor kitchen couch, man.
Quick fun fact, because of this scenario, I had never tried it before. I went out and got a jar of Nutella.
It's good.
It's very good. Not good for you, but it is good.
Full of Justin's nut
Yes,
meat.
but have you had mayo crepes yet?
No.
You have to.
You will.
Because of this podcast.
You will.
All right. Jarrah wants to know from me, if one of the investigators dropped out to pursue other things, would you just pull in someone you already know, or do you have a recruitment master plan ready to go? I did actually. This was sort of brought up during last month's happy hour event, oddly enough. I think maybe I had a little bit too much to drink in that. And basically what I said was, nothing lasts forever, but we just keep chugging right along, and much to our own amazement and amusement, we do. We're still having fun, so we just keep doing it. When and if we lose a player, I'll reassess and make a plan. But right now, there's nobody waiting in the wings or anything like that. So,
all right, who do you hope drops out, Jeremy?
Oh, I hope it's me. No. I hope I drop up a heart attack during a broadcast.
No,
that would be so great.
Be the most views ever.
Right at like the height of something, I'd be like, roll 4.
I don't have a button labeled.
Maybe it was the castle of
hashtag nut. All right, and let's see here. We're gonna end. Or we got two last ones here from Chris Parker for all of the players. The investigators have found themselves in some pretty diverse locales across 13 cases. What's a location you'd like to see them explore?
That ass.
Oh, these nuts.
Did you say would like to, or that we did
Would like to.
You'd like to.
Would like to.
Yeah.
The island from Zombie 2.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Doom, 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 doom.
That's a good question because we've kind of done everything. I don't know. Like an Antarctic or something like that, maybe would be cool.
That'd
Just
be
the
interesting. Do
unknowns?
something
Yeah.
playing with like severe
Thing.
isolationism. Yeah. Up until last case, I would have said it would have been fun to do something more urban, but considering we just came off of working in New York City, I can't say that anymore.
I
Or
want
an
to do something suburban.
Suburban. Like a literal suburban. A Chevy
Yeah.
Suburban.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing takes place in Chevy Suburban.
Let's go to Canada,
From
guys.
Chicago.
We can totally
Actually, I
make
thought
Canada
about
work.
Canada would be hilarious fun.
Hey?
I could do some Canadian accents.
Oh, God, no.
What?
Yeah, we'll go
When?
Wendigo
I can
hunting
do a
in
few
Canada.
of those. Don't worry about it.
Hey?
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay,
All right.
Mike
1 to 10.
Myers.
How was that accent, guys? I need numbers.
That's pretty good. Come on, Crow. Give me some kids there.
We've been watching Kids in the Hall, okay?
Kids of the Hall and the Pentaveret. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
The
my.
Pentaveret.
But have you been watching Letterkenny?
I did
Yes.
watch a few episodes and I stopped. So it's funny
too.
though. I liked it.
Yeah.
6 out of 10 A's.
Not a question, Dave.
A's. All right. Final question from John Scarcella for me. Will we ever know the fate of Samantha Blaine? Yes.
We will?
It's a yes or no question, John.
Is somebody's laundry done?
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
probably my last scenario where I don't control the house, so enjoy all the random noises while they last.
That's fine. We're out. So,
For extra spice.
So, guys, thank you for tagging along. That's going to be it for this episode of the Lovecraft Tapes. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you prefer. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review. Meanwhile, you can find us at lovecrafttapes.com with links to all our socials, including Discord, Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, and much, much more. You can find me on Twitter at Lovecraft Tapes.
And if anybody has any suggestions, because the Tapes Against Humanity deck is ever growing, white cards or black cards, we'll take anything we can get. Send them to me on Twitter at The Real Weird Kid, and I will add them in, and we will use them, and it will be lots of fun.
Opinions.
And if anybody is just so annoyed by the random noises that they want to send me rent money, you can find me at Lovecraft Gabe.
I'm at Brian Podcasts on Twitter, and on Discord, I will put a little tiny emoji underneath your comments sometimes.
Me
If you're
too,
lucky.
sometimes.
Insane.
Until next time,
And see.
roll for a candy-colored clown they call the Sandman. Tiptoes to my room every night, just to sprinkle stardust and to whisper, go to sleep, everything is all right.
How do I roll
Clever.
for that?
We're here all week. Or for
All right,
13
thanks for watching and listening, guys. We will see
Come
you.
back for case 14, which will be entirely musical.
Very musical. Exactly right.
At least one new song every episode. It's going to be
What the
great.
fuck was
Whether
that?
you want it or not.
There's something in the corner. What the fuck was
What the
that?
fuck was that? All right,
It's just Gabe.
we're out. Peace.
Bye.